the plan. Yep. So I'm going to do all of the odds pretty much with you, and then you'll just do the evens, and then you'll be done. Now, there are a couple of new things in the very back, okay, but the front side you've already done. You do need your common base charts, okay, but look, I have one here, and I'll put it up there at the end if you don't have it, okay? So going down the left-hand side, number 1, what would my loop give me if I were to put that in exponential form? Okay, 2 up to the x plus 7, and then bring it back around equals 64. Okay, do you remember doing this? Okay, then I would convert 64 into a base 2. Okay, so I'll put my chart right here. 2 to the 6, very good. So 2 to the x plus 7 is 2 to the 6, and then I'd cross out my 2's. So this 2's gone, that 2's gone, x plus 7 is 6. Minus the 7 across, negative 1. Very good. Got it, remember? Okay, go down to number 3. Okay, we're going to go down through the odds. So when I do my loop, it's going to be 2 up to the equals. Good. So 2 up to the 4x minus 1 equals 8. And then I'll put my chart back up here. 8 is 2 to the what? 2 to the 3. So then I'll rewrite this. 2 to the 4x minus 1 is 2 to the 3. And then you'll solve that. So you'll cross out your common base 2's here and here. And then how will I get rid of a minus 1 in my exponent? Okay, good. So if I plus 1 here and here. Good job, y'all, sir. Okay, 4x equals 4. Divide by 4, x is 1. Okay, take a look at the next one. When I loop it with a fraction, so I'll have 3 up to the x still. 3 up to the x still, and then when I bring it back around, if it's a 1 over 81, remember the only difference with that is you'll turn the exponent negative. So here's my chart. 81 is here, 3 to the 4, but I'll turn it to 3 to the minus 4. So it'll be 3 to the x is 3 to the negative 4. Cross out your 3's, x is what? Good. Now, in case you think that you need a little note here, I'm going to put use negative because fraction. Okay, which isn't really a very good sentence, but you get the idea. Okay, if it's a fraction, you have to turn your exponent negative. Okay, now go down to number 7, right below it, going down the odds. Number 7, where does my loop start? 2 to the 4. Bring it back around equals 3x minus 1. Now, this is where you have to remember that you're only using common base if your x is up here. So if my x is over here as per like a normal equation, then I'm going to turn this into a normal number. So in your calculator, type in 2 up to the 4. 2 up to the 4. Okay, and you get 16. Very good. So I want to use regular numbers if my x isn't little. So that's 16 equals 3x minus 1. Then from there, I'm going to reverse the sides. You might not have to do that. That's okay if you don't. But I'll put 3x minus 1 here, 16 here. And then keep solving. You will get a couple that will come out to be decimals. You can just put one decimal, one number behind the decimal. So add the 1 across. That gives me 3x equals 17. And then do 17 divide by 3. Yeah, I got 5.6. 5.6 repeating if you want to be super specific.
Oh, I put 7.
Oh, okay. Now, when I go to number 9, am I ready to loop it right away? No, why not? Gotta divide by 4, good. Yay! Y'all remembered. Okay, 8 divided by 4 comes out to be what? Good, so log little 3, x minus 1 equals 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then from there you do your loop. So it'll be 3 up to the 2, back around equals x minus 1. And then when I notice that my x isn't little, I need to bring 3 squared back to my normal numbers. 3 squared is how many? 9. So 9 is x minus 1. And then how do I get rid of the minus 1? Add it across, so x is 10. You got it. Okay, now instead of doing 11, I'm going to do 10 with you. Look at number 10. So can I log loop that right now? No, if there's a number in front, you have to get rid of it. What about if there's a number here? Still got to get rid of it. You just minus it across. So minus 7 here, minus 7 here. You can only log loop if there's not a number on the outside. So that plus 7 is a problem. Then I have log little 4, x minus 1, but instead of a 10, now it's a 3. And then from there, you'll do your loop just like you usually would. Okay? So it'd be 4 up to the 3, and then bring it back around equals x minus 1. In your calculator, you can type in 4 to the 3 if you lost your chart. 4 to the 3 comes out to be 64. So if x minus 1 is 64, notice I'm just reversing the sides there to keep x on the left. Then I would add 1 across, x would be 65. Make sense? Okay, all of that should be pretty easy. We've been doing that for like a week. Turn over to the back. Now we're going to have multiple logs and we'll practice putting them together. Remember, if your logs are added, do you multiply or divide? Multiply. If your logs are subtracted, you divide. So take a look at number 13 at the top, please. Okay, my logs are added together. I can't log loop if I have multiple logs. So I'll have to take these two parentheses and I'll have to multiply. And remember, the point of you multiplying is that then there'll just be one log and then you can loop it. So it'll be log little 2. What is 2x times 4? 8x on the inside. And then from there you'll do your loop. So it'll be 2 up to the, good, 2 up to the 6 equals 8x. And then when I notice my x isn't little, I need normal numbers again. So 2 up to the 6 in your calculator here is 64. So if 8x is 64, then what's my last step? Divide by 8. Very good. Remember, when you divide by 8 on the 8 side, it crosses out. Divide by 8 on 64, you get 8 as your answer. Make sense? Good. Okay. Go down, please, to 15. Okay, what would you do on 15? You have addition in the middle? Yep, you'd multiply. Very good. So 8x times 2 gives me log 2 of what? 16x. Very good. Equals 3. Bless you. And then from there you're going to loop it. Will it be 2 to the 3 or 3 to the 2?
2 to the 3.
2 to the 3. Remember, you're always starting here and then bringing it back around. So it'll be 2 up to the 3 equals 16x. Then remember, if my x is on the right side, I don't need little numbers, I need big numbers. So 2 to the 3 is equal to what in the calculator? 8. And if 8 is 16x, what do I divide by in the next step? 16. Close. Divided opposite. 8 on top, 16 on bottom. 0.5. Very good. Okay? Alright, go down to the next one, please. Number 17, what's the sign in the middle? Subtraction means I divide. Very good. So you're going to take your 81 and your 9 on the insides, and you're going to divide them. What is 81 divided by 9? 9. So it'll be log little 3 of 9 equals x. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little arrow here, and I'm going to put divide. Okay, but again, why are we dividing? Because it's a minus. Good. Okay, from here, do your loop. 3 up to the x equals 9. And then when I see that my x is little bitty like that, that's where you need your chart. What is 9 as a base 3? 3 squared or 3 to the 2? Very good. So it'd be 3 to the x is 3 to the 2. Yep, cross out your 3's, and you don't even have to finish solving it. X has to be 2. Okay, take a look for me, please, at number 18. Okay, what do you get on 18 when you divide 4x squared and 2x? 2x, very good. Let's talk about why that is. Okay, 4 divided by 2 is 2. But then if it's x squared divided by x, that's going to leave 1 left over. Okay, I'm not going to finish this one because it's not an odd, but there's one other thing I want you to put in there. What's the base? 10. Okay, so if the base isn't listed, remember that that counts as a 10. So when you do your loop, you would have to put 10 in there, okay? So I'm going to put over here, we divided 4x squared by 2x, and that's where we got that from. Okay?
It doesn't matter if it's a square?
It doesn't matter if it's squared. This is why. When I do x squared and I divide an x out, that's why it's only an x here. It's because an x on top and an x on bottom cross out with each other. Okay, 19 and 20. I'm going to do 20 instead of 19, but go ahead and set up 19. Let me just make sure you have it set up correctly. It would be 2x squared. Very good. See the little plus in the middle? That means that we're multiplying or dividing? Multiplying. So I'd have log little 2. And then if it's x times 2x, that's going to be 2x squared. And remember that anytime your answer comes out to be squared, you're going to end up with 2 answers. So you're going to get plus or minus and then a number. So I'll put over here x equals, should we just do it? Just do it. Okay, good. So 2 to the 3 equals 2x squared. Then as, okay, they said over there, 2 to the 3 is really just an 8. Okay, what would your next step be? Can I square root with the 2 in front like that? Divide by 2 first. So I'm going to come up over here. If I have 2x squared is 8, I need to divide by 2 first, which is 4. And then in my last step, if x squared is 4, then now I can square root. What's the square root of 4? Plus or minus 2. So remember that you will end up with multiple answers if it's quadratic. Okay? Okay, set up number 20 for me, please. Yes? So we divided by 2. That's where the 4 came from. And then the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. So whenever you put the little square root house on both sides, that's when you have to put the plus or minus. Anytime you square root both sides. Okay? So number 20, I have a minus in the middle. What am I doing with 1 and 1,000? Divide, so it'd be 1 divided by 1,000, right? Okay, that should look familiar. Even though it's set up kind of weird, we've done those before. What's your base if it's missing? 10. So it's 10 up to the x. Then bring it back around equals 1 over 1,000. And if one of your sides is a fraction, yeah, you'll just turn your exponent negative. Okay, so I'll put my little 10 chart right here. 1,000 is right here. 1,000's 10 to the 3. So then I'll change it to be 10 to the negative 3. Good. Okay. And then when your 10's cross out off both sides, x is going to be what? Good. Okay, the last 4. We did one like 21 and 22 last week on Friday. Let's do 22. Okay, first thing I notice, my logs are added. That means I'm doing what with my x and my x plus 6? I am multiplying. But when I multiply x times x plus 6, I'm going to have to do what? Distribute. So I'll have log little 4 of what? X squared plus 6x. So I do x times x, that's where the x squared comes from. Then I do x times 6, that's where the 6x comes from. Then from here, you're going to loop it. So it'll be 4 up to the 2 equals x squared plus 6. 4 up to the 2, x squared plus 6x. Now, what is 4 squared the same as? 16. However, if I have a 16 equals x squared plus 6x, how am I going to have to solve that? You have to move it to the other side so that you can t-chart. So take your 16 from right here, scooch it over to the other side. If it used to be positive, now it's negative. So I have x squared plus 6x minus 16. And then you're going to t-chart that. So set up my little chart right here. Negative 16 at the top. What numbers will times to 16?
8 and 2.
Okay, 8 and 2. 2 times 8. Now there are other numbers too, but we're going to pick those numbers because they have a difference of 6 in the middle like we want. Will we put the minus on the 8 side or the 2 side? 2 side. So then it'll be over x over x. Good. And then the reason it's 2 and negative 8 is because remember your parentheses are the opposite. So it's an x minus 2 from this one, an x plus 8 from the second one, and then your answers are always the opposites. So it'll be x equals positive 2 and negative 8. Easy? No? Okay. Now most of the logs you're not going to end up having to t-chart like that. Okay? So number 21, if you want to put a little note on it, that one will be a t-chart as well. Now, because you have an x and then an x with another number. That's how you know. Okay, now take a look at number 23. We're going to do 23 and 24. We did not do one like this on Friday. So, when I have a minus in the middle, what do I do with x and x minus 2? Divide. So the first thing that we're going to do is we'll have log little 3 of x divided by x minus 2. Good. So far so good? Okay, what do I do next? Because I can't really divide these, I just have to leave it.
3 squared.
Okay, 3 squared, good. Equals x over x minus 2. Okay, then one more step. This is the first one we've done like this. 3 squared is the same as what number? 9. So if I have this, any ideas? Crisscross or cross multiply is what a lot of teachers call it. Now, 9 doesn't have its own bottom, so I can put it over what? Put it over 1. And then you'll cross multiply. So I'll have 9 times x minus 2. Now when I multiply that, what am I going to have to remember with the 9? It times is by the x and by the minus 2. So what is 9 times x? Minus 18. And do we understand where the 18 is coming from? Because the 9 is timesing by the 2 as well. Okay, then on the other diagonal, what's 1 times x? Just an x. Okay, drop my railroad tracks. I gotta bring the baby to the mama, so I'm gonna minus my x across here. What is 9x if I take 1 away? 8x. Minus 18, nothing's left, so I put a 0. And then if minus 18 needs to go to the other side, what will its sign be when it moves over? Plus 18 on that side. So 8x is positive. I put a little plus there because it moved. And then last step, divide by 8. Perfect. Okay, so this one also comes out to be a decimal. She said 2.25. That is correct. Okay. All right, next one. Go ahead and set it up for me. Okay, notice you have a minus in the middle. Minus means that your x side is going to come out to be a fraction. So I have log little 2. And then remember, your fraction always goes the first thing over the second thing. Ogechi's actually not here. Yeah. She might be on. Is she in Avid? She might. There's a field trip, so she might be out. So we'll do, okay, log little 2. And then what is my fraction going to be? What goes on top?
X minus 3.
Over?
2x.
Good. Okay, now when I do my loop, this is where you have to pay attention. When I do my loop, it'll be 2 up to the what? Negative 3. That means it's going to be a fraction on that side as well. So I have 2 to the negative 3 is x minus 3 over 2x plus 6. And then 2 to the 3 on your chart, I'll put it up here. Okay, 2 to the 3 is 8. Then what is 2 to the negative 3? Well, we're turning it into a fraction though. So instead of 8, it'd be 1 over 8. Does that make sense? Okay, so this one, I'm going to put fraction. Okay, because 2 to the 3 is 8, then 2 to the negative 3 is 1 over 8. And now I'm ready to cross multiply. Let's,
Question.
yes?
So for the test, are you going to have one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have one that's all filled out for you. Okay, so let's cross multiply. Now remember, who does 8 multiply by? Just the x? The x and the minus 3. So what's 8 times x? What's 8 times minus 3? Minus 24 equals. Now we're doing the other diagonal. It's going to be 1 multiplied by? Good. Now what's 1 times 2x? And what's 1 times 6? 6. So for that one, it ends up not really mattering. If you forgot to distribute, you wouldn't mess up on that side. Okay, bring the baby to the mama. Which x is moving, the 8 or the 2? Minus the 2x across. 8x minus 2x is how many?
6x.
And then to get rid of minus 24, you would plus it. Good. So I'm going to add my 24 on both sides. What is 6 plus 24? 30. And if 6x is 30, what's your last step? Divide by 6. X is 5. Now, let me also just remind you, the last 3 were harder. All the other ones were not so bad. So on your test, that is not this week, but next week, okay, they're not all going to be like this. So if all the other ones you got, I would say overall that's pretty good. Okay, you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4. You have like 10 left. Okay? Answer key is up here for you to check when you're done. And then check and see if it's right. I'll mark it up. Jaden, Henry, do y'all want these back? Douglas, you want yours back? Okay, so the ones that I thought we were working on were 6 and 7.
No, I turned those ones in already too. And then you gave me the notes for 3 and 4. Those are the ones that I finished in class with you.